Hi, this is Rhoda again, and we are back with the last video in the series of 20 hours of learning to draw better. And as you might have seen in the first video, I told you that I have been practicing drawing for 20 hours now, because I had read the book The First 20 Hours, How to Learn Anything Fast by Josh Kaufman. And his basic principle of the book is that it might take 10,000 hours to become an expert in any field, but it only takes about 20 hours to become so good that you can really enjoy something and perhaps create something that you're really proud of. And one of the other inspirations for doing this process for me is that I kind of want to be a Renaissance person, like Da Vinci. And Leonardo da Vinci was really great at engineering, botany, drawing, painting, sculpture, anatomy, and yeah, lots of different fields. So we can see more connections and solve bigger problems in the world. So anyway, here we are at 20 hours. I will split it into 3 parts. Meaning, first I show you some before-after pictures. Then I'll just go quickly through the main lessons I learned about how we can learn to draw most effectively. Mostly to show you that it's not really complicated learning to draw, especially if you want to just learn some few things like learning to draw figures, and that means people. Oh, my timer. Or you can draw faces. And finally, number 3, I will just go through the notebooks book to show you what the process was like learning to draw and the notes I made. Alright, so first we have a picture of the god Apollo. The Greek god Apollo, god of sun, music, poetry, and a lot of other things. So after about 9 hours of practice, halfway through, I drew this image of him. And I don't have the picture of him right now. Or actually I do. You can look at it here. Oh. Oh, that's Socrates. Oh, Plato. There he is. And perhaps we can compare them. Yeah, perhaps you don't see it so well. But the basic form is there, and then we have after 20 hours of practice. I did this drawing today. That one right here. And as you can see, I'm much prouder of this one than this one, because I hadn't learned, for example, to shade in layers. First just shade all the brightest parts, then you shade again over the darker parts. And I hadn't learned how to create figures in better shapes. So I don't know which one you like the most, but I definitely like this one, which I got after 20 hours of practice versus 9 hours of practice. Then we have a portrait. I just need to get it right here. So this portrait was something I did not very proud about after 7.5 to 9 hours of practice. And here we can see the last one I made today, which was about 18 hours to 20 hours. And if you know how I look, you know how that's like. Okay, it's I wouldn't say it's a little bit better. Don't look like a freak. And finally, I also had some other goals of what I wanted to draw. So I basically wanted to learn drawing figures, meaning people, and I wanted to learn drawing faces. So my first goal was to draw the Vitruvian Man, anatomically correct, meaning the muscles and everything is looks really good. This one was okay. It doesn't really look like him a lot, because I didn't turn out learning a lot about anatomy, so it's okay. And then we have Leonardo da Vinci, the man. Pretty happy about this one. I think it looks pretty much like the picture. And yeah, that was that. And I also have some other drawings, but we'll leave it at that. Then I told you I would go through the last part. And before we begin with the lessons, I just want to say that the main thing I believe is most important for learning to draw anything is just having the confidence to do it. The courage to draw or do something again and again and feel stupid. That's also something that Josh Kaufman mentions in the book, that we don't like to feel stupid, and that's the reason that we don't want to learn new things. And I felt really stupid in the beginning. So, here are some quick lessons on learning to draw. You need to learn the basics of proportion, how big the face or head is in relation to the body and the feet, etc. And instead of finding your drawing, as you're learning, instead of judging your drawing, which will be bad in the beginning, just practice drawing more, because that will make you good. Then seeing. I learned a lot about not really seeing what you are drawing, but seeing the basic shapes and lines of what it is you're actually drawing in this second. And that brings me to shapes. We can really, all things can be broken into shapes, which I'll talk more about soon. And you can use them to outline your drawings. For example, by creating really simple cylinders for the feet of people, or a rectangle for the upper body, and lines for the hands, and then you just draw around. Then you have perspective. You have, and again, I'm just telling you this to show you how learning to draw is not really that complicated. Then you have perspective. You want to use a vanishing point to make things look further away if they're up here, and closer if they're down here. And vanishing point is basically a point, lines, and then you have two lines going. Here's the vanishing point, where things get smaller and smaller and smaller, and they disappear. For shading, you want to use it to create a sense of depth and form. And when you make something darker, you make the things around it brighter. If you want light, you need the dark. In the same way that you can't have a good person without having an evil one to compare him to. Faces. You shouldn't worry too much about proportions, just learn the basics and enjoy practicing. Doodle is something you could do just to loosen your hand. I'll show you more very soon. Expand your mind and draw movement and emotion quickly. Plus, because it's fun. And grip. Close to the point means you can use it for precision. Further away means you get longer lines. You can, for figures, you can use simple shapes to outline their structure before you fill in the details and shading. First, use mood lines to very simply convey an emotion or movement. Then, you can keep drawing. For example, if you want to have a dancing man, you could just draw some really simple shapes, lines like this, and then draw around it. For your motivation of drawing, I found it really motivating when I had learned the basic skills of shapes and lines and just seeing what I'm drawing. It was really motivating to draw women I find beautiful. And if you're a woman, you can draw men you find handsome, or boys. And you can draw landscapes you find beautiful. Or else you can draw someone you really admire. It can also be a fantasy character. I did this god, Apollo, as you see here. Then you can also just draw someone you think looks cool. You can find people images on Facebook, just perhaps don't show them before it actually looks like them. And goals. Create clear goals of what you want to be able to draw specifically. Then you can look for videos, books or courses on how to do that. And now, so that's the basics of drawing, especially faces and figures. So it's not really complicated. And now I want to just walk you quickly through the main things of my book. I will go really quickly because as you can see this video is starting to get pretty long. So, here we had an upside down drawing, just so I could learn seeing the shapes, and seeing the lines instead of seeing the whole image. Same with this one, just seeing the lines and naming what I'm actually drawing. Line, curve, line. Here we learned a lot about perspective, things in front look closer than things behind. For shading, we can use different values to have something darker than something else. You learned about vanishing points, things up there is much smaller than things closer. And we have some examples going on. And something really fascinating I learned was that everything can basically be broken down to these simple shapes. Everything you're drawing. Rectangles, squares, triangles, think pyramid, circles, the sun, planets, cones, cylinders, the feet of us, our bones, and ellipses. And you can just draw these shapes while you're doing anything. You practice all the time, refining your skills and the ability to really see shapes in the environment. And yeah, I practiced a lot of shapes. Again, just to give you a feel of what the process was like. And it was really quick, because I didn't really judge much of what I drew. It's not to be perfect, it's just to increase your chance to draw shapes, which helps you draw everything. And here's when I learned that if you want something to look bright, make it even darker around it. Use the power of contrasting something. And for the grip, the further forward you hold, the more details you can create, and longer lines away, and more smooth lines. Here I learned about how a figure is built up, just a circle, and oval for the upper body. Then you have a little thing for the rib cage, a line for the hips, and 2 ovals for the legs, and then just draw the knees. So and triangles for the arms, for the scapula on your back, and just draw. So it's really simple learning these things, if you just can manage to get yourself doing it. And then we also want to use mood lines, which are just these simple lines that you create before you're drawing, if you want to create movement and emotions. And for how to draw a realistic face, a man named Leonardo Perez Nieto, I think, a really good drawer. He's at Fine Art Tips on YouTube. He started showing us all of these measurements we need to create the perfect proportions for the face. And yeah, dozens of lines and proportions. And then he just smudged the paper and said that it's really a lot simpler than that. You just draw an oval, line down the middle, line at the side. This is where the eyes are. Then split the lower in half. Then split that lower half again, almost in half, but just a bit above. That's the mouth. And here is the nose. And you can just fill in the rest. Start shaping the face. Faces was something that I really was a bit scared about in the beginning, but now it's alright. And if you want to get good at drawing faces, get good at drawing the parts of faces. So it's just, again, practicing until you get it. And we are back at the before and after pictures. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I really have one question for you, to get to know if I'm to continue creating these videos. And that is, did you find this video helpful to get a general overview of how you can learn skills really quickly if you just learn some simple basics? And also, do you want me to actually start giving tutorials based on what I learned during these 20 hours? So you can get from suck to unsuck. Okay, a quick heads up. I'm also going to be learning to play the piano right now. I have been playing a lot of piano before, but I haven't really learned it in a structured way of learning the complete basics that we need to really get good at it. And yeah, you'll be hearing from me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and look forward to keep going with this series. Have another awesome day, and I'll see you soon.